All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Business Blueprints. We are on episode 26, and this week we have a special guest. These guys have blown up on the Pittsburgh scene in the last few years. There's no doubt. We have Brian Kirchner, one half of the City Life Group. Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Brian.
No doubt. So listen, you guys got a lot of arms attached to this thing now. So how did you guys, I knew you guys when you both worked together.
Yep.
At one point at RE360. Is that kind of how it started, or how did this whole thing kind of start back when?
I mean, it really started, Casey, like the City Life journey. I'll take it back a little bit to prior RE360 because it helps
probably
expand
goes before that,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah, it goes a little bit before that.
I met you outside of real estate, but then I knew you whenever you worked there too.
Yeah, so basically I started investing in properties,
Yep.
became an agent 1 year before joining RE360. Joe Calloway,
Yep.
me and him grew up in the same area. I knew of him just from the investing. I grew up in 15210, grew
Yep.
up in Knoxville, Mount Oliver area. Obviously, followed Joe. I was like, man, this dude crushing it. Joe he was launching the 360 Group,
Yep.
residential brokerage. I was an agent 1 year. I was doing well as an agent.
Yep.
My first year, I did a lot of networking prior, had a lot of people that interacted with about real estate.
Yep.
Leading up to I was turning 30 years old. Right around that time, all my friends and family were starting to buy houses. That's everyone's first house. So I hit it at a good time.
Yeah.
So whenever I joined RE360 to kind of, as one of the first agents to join the 360 group, I really did that for investing, just to learn a little bit more. At the time, I think I had 5 properties. I owned them all free and clear. My cash was always tied in there. I didn't really have credit, never knew how to leverage money, anything like that. So I really wanted to learn investing and how to leverage money.
Yep.
And I did like the real estate, all aspects. I like the entrepreneurship.
Yep.
It just seemed like a good fit. So after being there about a year and a half, Joe fired his whole back office. There was this I'm not going to jump into the.
I know what happened.
Yeah, that story.
Yep.
But Casey, I knew Casey. I went to college. I went to IUP with his brother.
Yep.
So I knew Casey, and I was Casey's real estate agent as well. So where Casey came into play was they were looking for someone to come in and run the back office. I hooked them up with Joe. I said, hey, this could be a good opportunity. Casey came in. Him and Joe got along well, crushed it.
Yep.
At that same time, I was more focused on my investing while I was at RE360. I didn't really help them on the investing side. I was more on the agent side.
Yep.
We just didn't see eye to eye on where the brokerage was going, it didn't make sense for me to help run it. Joe was already crushing it on investing. I was starting to invest.
Yep.
So I parted ways, kind of went on my own.
Yep.
Went on my own, started investing, had 20-some properties. I was in broker classes to get my broker's license, to start the ReMax franchise, just different things. So I took my own office space, started off, how that came together with me and Casey. Between the relationship with RE360 just didn't work out long-term with Casey.
Yep.
Casey came over to help me fix my books. So it was really his accounting background.
Back end stuff for him to clean up your side.
Yeah, exactly. So I hired Casey more on he was starting his own business, doing book work for real estate investors. Yep. I hired him. After a couple of weeks, we were already friends. We knew each other. I knew his skill set. He knew my skill set. We're sitting in my office down on the North Shore. Let's just partner. It just made sense. Our skills just aligned. Our values aligned.
Yep.
And since then, we were pretty much off to the races. But yeah, that's how me and Casey partnered. That's how, City Life was on it, starting, but I had to name City Life a little bit prior to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you buy into the ReMax franchise, just you at first?
No.
How did that ReMax opportunity come about?
The ReMax came in really whenever I left the 360 group, whenever we parted ways, I hung my license at ReMax 360. Just dumb luck, there happened to be a 360 named ReMax.
Yeah.
But I started looking into it while we were at the 360 group. We actually looked into what
doing your own thing.
Yeah, doing a brokerage as well, a bigger name brokerage, because you run into, at least some years back, recruiting without a big name brokerage was a little bit harder.
Very hard back then.
Yeah.
Because the cool thing is like I've sat back and I've watched everybody's kind of evolution, but it's nice to hear from you guys, like kind of how it all pieces together for real. It's very unique how these things all start to come about and how the pieces fall into place. And it's kind of interesting for people to hear that because everyone thinks it's just like goes. I'm like, well, there's a lot of things that kind of happen in between that got to get this thing to get a motor rolling.
Yeah. And there was a lot. There was like there was conversations with ReMax prior to even me leaving the 360 group. With Joe as well. Like, was ReMax an option? What does it take to franchise?
Right.
Is that even the right route? But the way I looked at the ReMax and the way me and Casey looked at doing the ReMax franchise, in hindsight, we probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
The reason we did it was I was already paying ReMax franchise, like just my fees alone to them was probably about $40K a year. And really, that's all you needed for the name. Like, it was like, I think it was a $35K buy-in.
Yep.
Then they just take a percentage, like a small percentage of your overall.
Yeah.
So it seemed like a good move. It just made sense. I was actively doing transactions then.
Because you were always like a real agent.
Yeah, I was a real agent, but all the money I made agent just went back into investing. But I was still a real agent. That was still like primary source of income at the time.
I was going to say, you actually did real numbers.
Yeah.
Like prior to like it being, now it's being an agent is a little different than what it once was.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. Yeah, being an agent was like, it was the first I've learned of like, all right, how do the commissions work?
Yeah.
How do you actually get paid?
Yeah.
Then I realized like, all right, man, you need 2 years of this to actually get the tax returns.
Right.
I need to refinance the properties.
It takes a while.
Learned all about it. But yeah, it was the ReMax. We went with the ReMax route. I was already in broker classes when we partnered. It was kind of already, it was already on motion. It was already there.
Yeah.
Then it was a bigger part of like the plan, but quickly we started buying so many damn properties. We were like,
yes, you did.
Brokerage.
Very quickly.
Yeah, brokerage side was just kind of, we always called it the redheaded stepchild, for better or for worse, but that usually, it didn't fold into our business the way investing, construction, property management, the operational
Yeah, it definitely
side.
doesn't integrate the same. Like you can't, that's almost its own thing. And then the other pieces, like you said, construction, real estate, they all go together like peanut butter and jelly. You can commingle the crap out of that.
Yes.
You got a lot of different personalities over on the brokerage side, and it doesn't really mingle as well as, the cohesion isn't as simple. Because I started understanding that a little bit when I've talked to like DJ and Durbin and those guys, and we talked about, some bigger brokerage opportunities that they kind of run too. And they're like, yeah, you think it's easy. It's not. Like it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. You said it well. And again, we gave everyone high splits. We weren't really looking to get rich off of it. We did look at it as a branding mechanism a little bit. Big name brand added some credibility. The ReMax side. We were raising capital for the investment side as well.
Were you looking at it too? Maybe these agents will bring you deals or anything like that. Is that a part of it as well?
Yeah, part of it was a little bit of a like, call it the community of you have agents now. They could potentially bring you deals.
Their relationships, who they know, what doors can open, that type of thing. Yeah.
And it wasn't like, an elaborate thought out plan. It was more like, all right,
whatever happens,
I'm an agent. Whatever happens, happens. And we focused on it during COVID. Doors closed. COVID, they kind of shut down investing for, call it a little bit. So during that time, we recruited because no agents weren't doing anything. So we did recruit 7 agents within like a month, 2 months, good agents. And those were kind of our core agents for the entire life of ReMax.
Yeah, because what I've learned kind of with these brokerages is it doesn't really matter how many you have. That's kind of what you get. You get like 7 key, 10 people, depending on and that's your bread and butter. Those are the people that are producers, and the others just kind of do, 3, 4, 5 deals a year, that type of thing. I'm kind of the same way. Like I'm an agent here, but I only do 4 or 5 transactions a year. Like I'm not a top producer. I'm not nothing that's going to light the world on fire.
Yeah. You realize what the needs for the license once you start investing, there's definitely, it comes in handy for certain aspects. Like on paper, I still do deals, but I haven't showed a house to a buyer and I couldn't tell you how many years.
Yeah.
Like it's been a long time. No buyer transactions. I haven't listed a house for somebody myself. I couldn't went on like a listing appointment. I couldn't tell you the last time I went on.
Yeah.
It's probably been a few years as well.
Yeah.
I have conversations about it, but it gets tricky when you're trying to talk about listing a home versus buying a home. It's just different conversations. It's hard to be all right, let me wear this hat.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to list your house. All right, let me wear this hat. I want to buy your house.
I said the other day, I got one of my condos up for sale in my Lebanon, and I was like, all right, let me go put my real estate hat on. I'm like, I don't think it's a different conversation on selling new construction as selling a used condo. You know, like it's two totally different worlds.
Different world. Yeah, so we still refer out. But, I mean, to this, we actually officially ReMax official as of last week. Our 5-year agreement with them.
Oh, nice.
So we signed a 5-year agreement that ended last week.
So what are your guys' plans? You're gonna, like you said, you would have changed directions looking back, and that's always the thing that happens, right? Like when you get into business early on, we always look back at something like, I probably wouldn't have done that looking back now. So you guys gonna renew it, or are you gonna go a different route? Or
no, we're not going to renew. Just hanging our license at EXP for right now.
Nice.
Just to have.
Because of the relationship that's going on currently there.
Yeah, relationship there. Yeah. We still need to do transactions, like some of the stuff we buy, some of the stuff we sell. Yep. But yeah, really the ReMax side of it, that officially, we started winding that down last year. Yep. And really, like
you can tell because the promotion kind of went down a little bit on it. You can tell when somebody's starting to shift gears and stuff.
Yeah, and on those two, it's like you have to put a lot of effort into. It's not fair. Even the agents that you give them like really high splits, if you're not giving them any attention or like really like adding any value, you can get a high split anywhere.
Yeah.
Like I always look at it, it's like if you're going to run something, we had a 5-year agreement with them. You have certain fees we had to pay them, but at the same time, we weren't adding any value.
Yep.
And really, to make money on a brokerage, I think you have to have the ancillary businesses that connect and tie in, like title, insurance, all the other stuff that really I think really do benefit brokerages to really make it successful. You have to really optimize all of those. All of it as one package to really do well. And we didn't really have the interest in doing
I was going to say, because that would be essentially you adding 3 more businesses into your already repertoire of what you already have, which is like, okay, guys, like when does enough like become too much?
Yeah, exactly. And when you're a little bit younger in business, you try doing everything. We still try doing a lot. Sure. We still think we can do whatever, but you know what it is. Yeah. Once you get your gears going, you're like, all right, what am I doing here? Yeah. Like it's hard to tie and integrate all the people to it, and the brokerage side was always just kind of out there. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's
I mean it's definitely one of the things because you guys, like you said, I mean you start buying a lot of property, but you guys got a lot of staff now too. I mean that's the thing. I mean I've heard, quote me if I'm incorrect, I've just heard, did you guys have like 30, 40 people at least on staff?
We're typically in the 30s, somewhere in the 30s.
Yeah, like that's heavy staff.
It is.
It's a lot of moving overhead for what?
A lot of moving overhead.
Yep.
I mean, so you figure the components of a business. We own roughly 950-ish units.
Those are your guys's.
That we own.
Yes.
Yeah, so call it roughly, out of that, 300 some single families, then call it 50 multi-families. A couple of them are syndications, but the bulk of them are anywhere from 5 to 20 some units. Biggest being a 98-unit complex. But a lot of staff, a lot of people just for those.
Are your syndications out of state? Or are they in Pennsylvania?
They're all here.
Yeah, all your units are here.
Everything's here except for a house we have in Deep Creek.
Yeah. I see you guys have a vacation house.
Yeah, we have 2 in Orlando with a partner, but it's here. All of our investing is pretty much here in Pittsburgh or somewhere within 45 minutes away.
So whenever you guys put that into place, like I've also heard too that, and again, quote me if I'm wrong, but you guys have a full C-suite as well that kind of that manages all of that on the high end, on the revenue side. Yep. Because again, you have property management, you guys got all the rentals, and how many properties are you managing on top of your guys' rentals?
We manage the total under management is about 1,300.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we started focusing really on management over the last, call it 6 months, the operational side. We knew as you keep growing, you've had units, so as you keep growing, it requires staff. It requires processes, it requires the systems. A lot of times to keep doing that, we're like, all right, do we want to just only do it for ourselves? We battled that for years. We're like, all right, should we take on some? Should we not? Are we giving it enough focus? We made the decision, especially heading into this year, that management was going to be a heavier focus, especially over the next probably year to 2 years.
Management for outside or your stuff, or just all together as a whole?
As a whole.
Yeah. So your stuff gets managed all the same as everyone else. It's all under one process, one system, and it all runs the same way.
Yeah, exactly. So internally, we have asset management. So we did create an asset management arm that we all operate under EOS under there. So reporting and stuff obviously will be different for our own properties.
Yep.
We have people internally to do that, but we treat our properties just like everyone else's. They're all under the same management umbrella. They're all getting, if there's a work order, there's a work order through the same system. Same maintenance techs, same billing, all that we keep at arm's length from the properties. That way we can keep consistent processes, and that's really what we've been focused on over, call it the last 3 to 6 months, but really heavily going into this year, really optimizing all the different ways. Like, just picture how many different collections.
Oh, there's so many
leasing
things,
turnovers, you name it.
Yeah.
It's
Plus
all
all
about,
the shit. Plus all the shit you don't think about.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's a lot of that.
Fires. All the fun stuff.
So when people talk about scalability and people talk about, you know, increasing volume, obviously you guys did it very fast. Now, was there, what I've always kind of learned is, and from an outsider looking in, and this is just me thinking from the outside, like construction has to be a bottleneck for you guys because Pittsburgh's tough. Like we don't have a huge reliable sub pool and there's only so many internal guys, right? And internal guys creates workman's comp, creates internal audits, creates all these different things because we just let go of our entire internal staff of like our field crew. We kept one guy for punch out. That's it. Because the workman's comp, the audits every year became so heavy that it was like, okay, what are we doing this for? Like, you know, like does this really make sense from like our workman's comp's 50, 60 grand a year. Like it just keeps going up. We've never used it. I'm like, we started at 20. Now we're at 60. We've never used it once. And now it's going back up, you know, and it just becomes a problem. You know, what areas as you guys were scaling, did it become a problem for you in construction in Pittsburgh?
Construction is, I always say, probably the biggest, there's so many components, especially on Burr model.
Oh my gosh.
But when you're renovating these properties, having some control of construction is always very important. So first 3 to 4 years in business, we had pretty heavy internal staff. I do think that it was especially during COVID, like the boom of the properties. I do think it was way harder to find subs then. So I think we did have to create the internal teams to kind of control the punch out, to kind of control those processes, not have to rely, because the speed was everything too. Turning
it has to be.
Especially with the hard money to keep
100%.
Keep things
That's
turning.
what I was getting at too. Is like there's always there's a clock.
There's a
you
clock.
know, and what like people don't understand is like when you have a clock, it adds a different kind of pressure to you. Now the pressure varies, right? So if you're a guy like me and I do property or 2 at a time. That's all I like to do because I don't have enough time and focus. So I'll do property 2 at a time, stabilize them, burr them, buy another property 2 at a time. But you're doing it on the level that you guys are, and you're doing 14 acquisitions a month, sometimes 20 acquisitions a month. I'm like, that's a different kind of stress. Because your interest payments are just bananas at that point. And then you got to cover that. Plus, you know, like you said, you got to, you know, hope that you can get through these burrs on big levels.
So the 100%, all that. The construction side, we did lean into subs more. We created more of like a systematic process. You have essentially your lead carpenter. Lead carpenter can they get a key guy, but then you use subs for a lot of the process. Sub out all flooring, sub out mostly all exterior stuff, sub out backsplashes, sub out counters. Kitchens we did for a while internal. We subbed those out sometimes, but it was really when we were carrying 15 to 17 guys at a time. I mean, there's just so many wasted hours that you just can't account for. Running to the stores, 4 people on a job, trying to figure out how many people needed to be on a job site at all times, and doing that, moving around crews, the personalities, somebody calling off. I mean, that's not to mention all the expenses that you said, all the overhead, all the workman's comp. We pay benefits to everybody. You name it. Like there's just too much. At the beginning, we were growing so fast that we kind of
had to catch up to it.
And we didn't have time to go vet. Like onboarding a new sub's hard as well.
Onboarding, people don't understand the price of moving subs too, and the cost of doing that. You got to learn their process, their billing, their AR, their AP, their quoting, their this, their that. It's all of this creates chaos.
Yes.
You know, and that's why I tell our team, like we just brought on a purchasing division to where like we're now going to create POs and send them out, and everything we do is going to be a semi-custom model with 9 options on a drawing, and then we have a full custom model. But again, like all our purchasing guys negotiate pricing, locked in this, whether it's quarterly, monthly. Now with tariffs and all these things looming, it's like, okay, it was quarterly, now it's 2 months, and it's an ever-changing game. So, you know, for us, it's like, you know, you got to have some level of stability inside of that because, and assuming the same thing, these houses that we work on in Pittsburgh are old.
Yes.
Like that creates another real big problem because you have that, which is the outside source that a lot of people don't deal with in the country.
Yep. I think that's what separated us, helped separate us a little bit. And that's why we see a lot of hedge funds have struggle in Pittsburgh versus other areas.
Get your ass kicked over here.
Everything's different.
I mean, look at this weather we've had the last couple of days. Like people can't even fathom what goes on here.
No, and I mean, you go across the street, you got high side of the street versus low side of the street.
And they don't understand the consequences of that.
No. Yeah, you got retaining wall. The high side got the retaining walls, got the sewer line underneath some of the stairs, underneath the porches. There's just so many random factors. And that was another part of having some of like the internal construction like team was always very vital. Like we had very good people. We had good foremen. And it was a big part of like what we did for years that really helped us scale up.
Us too.
In hindsight, again, would we have changed that and went to more of a lead carpenter type system earlier and just had a couple really key project managers managing the subs with some punch out guys? That probably would have helped us scale a little bit better without so much overhead cost. But yeah, I mean, it's creating those processes of like the materials you use and is getting it as standard as possible. But like you said, getting that onto a new sub every single time, that was more difficult because subs, whether you want them to or not, they're going out and picking out light fixtures. They're showing up, putting on random doors and this stuff that you're like, little things that drive you nuts that you know.
Doorknobs and this is wrong.
Hinges are different. Like just little things that you don't realize that we need to refinance out of these. We want them to look like as flip quality as possible. We want to hit these high rents. Those little things matter. Like whether you want it, like a lot of times it's hard to explain that to new subs. But now, we operate a lot, almost strictly on subs besides the management company where we have 6 to 8 field techs at any time for that side. But we do operate with project manager and subcontractors now. We built a lot of good subcontract relationships that kind of know our product now pretty well at this point. There's still some like fine tuning of it, but I would say in-house construction, that was, if I ever go back, subcontractors is definitely the way to go. But
100%. So we had to look at the business in the same sense. So when we first started, we looked at this and we're like, shit, like the cash durations of new construction's long. So like it's phase completion. You don't get paid until you complete a phase. Well, that could take, some phases are 2 months, some phases are 2 weeks. So like, we're like, okay, fuck, we don't have any money. Like, how do we supplement this? So that's why we started remodeling. And we're like, all right, well, we can bill weekly. All right, well, that'll supplement cash flow. That'll pay for rents and some other overheaded items and things of that nature. But then we started looking at it and we're like, okay, we built this thing to like last year we did 1.7 million in interior remodeling, mostly 90% interior remodeling. And I'm like, all right, so we did 35 projects. I'm like, holy shit, man. I'm like, well, our average sale of new construction is $865. I mean, you tell me if we don't focus on this 100% per year, we can't sell 2 more houses and do 33 less projects and not have the overhead? I'm like, okay, guys, we gotta, this is, again, you talk about focus. You can only put so much focus in so many places, and remodeling takes all your focus.
I agree.
So it's like, we had to make that call. You know, it wasn't valued by everyone in the company, meaning the people that we had to let go, but that's the unfortunate decision of what we had to do.
That's the hard part.
That's the hardest part.
Because you're
and I liked all of them.
You
know, but then again, at the end, they all trashed us, you know. Call us greedy and this and that and all these things. And that's the unfortunate side of business.
Yeah, I mean, they're not in the numbers all day, right?
Not at all.
Like, and that's tough. I mean, that's tough because that is their livelihood. I mean, we struggle with that because you build culture. you're a culture person.
Strong culture.
Yeah, strong culture.
You guys have strong culture too. You can tell.
Yeah, when we do, we value our people. So every time you bring somebody in, it's not like, oh, we can just let them go anytime. Like you put a lot of time, you put a lot of effort, you put a lot of, you meet their families, like you know their family, like you're laying somebody.
Yeah.
Anytime we ever laid anybody off, we're trying to also find them a new job. We're trying to place them with another crew. And I feel most people here in Pittsburgh kind of, anyone that I know that's running a halfway decent business, when they're letting go of contractors, always get a text or a call of like, hey, I got a good person.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part. We tried doing the same. We tried doing third party construction, and that's just was never our core focus. That's not what we did well. We understood how to do work for ourselves. It's not that we couldn't do it. There's just a learning curve to doing that. Every customer wants something different. It's like
the biggest thing you can't control is what happens at home. So you're not there, right? So you leave during the day. Well, let's say Susie gets into a fight with Bill, and Bill, they're arguing. You come there first thing in the morning, and everything's weird. Like it's awkward. Like it's just it's a very emotional business, and it's a very up close and personal that you can't ever divert that. Like this is, if you're doing $100,000 kitchen for somebody, like that's an emotional thing. Like they're going to care, and they watch you all day long. So it's like, the thing about new construction is people don't live there. We can't lock people out like NVR and some of the bigger builders can, because they do end loans. Like we do construction loans. So our clients buy the land and they close on the build. So like I can't just be like, okay, you're not allowed in the house. Period. That's not a viable option for us. But again, it's the communication leading to it. It's our softwares that post pictures daily, and we kind of can attack things from a little bit of a higher step back, which is much easier to manage. And you can do it on a higher volume.
Yeah, I mean, you just picture cleaning job sites all the time. Like there's just so many little things. Even on trying to transition from investment properties from us, we were trying to transition a little bit from investment properties to homeowner work or just for investors. Every investor wants something a little different, and you run into like a slippery slope of you're an investor, you have $35K to spend. There's so much you can't do with $35K. Yeah. Like if you know the budget's
especially
35.
Nowadays.
So you have to be so creative in these old homes. Like I know I can only spend 35 in there. I've been doing this long enough to know how to maximize that 35,000 for our own properties. Like, okay, we can kind of skip this. We can kind of skip that. It's very hard to advise on that as a contractor.
Very much.
Because it all needs done.
Yes.
And it's just, when are you willing to risk it needing done after you own it? So then if you're doing that work for investors, it's like,
because your model's different than their model.
Yes.
And you can't adapt and say, hey guys, this is what we do. I think you should do that. It's very hard to force feed people that.
And it is. And it's hard to, and you don't want to give them too much. Like, you don't want to say like, I think you should do this, or I think you can leave this.
Because if it doesn't work, it's your fault.
It's well, that's exactly it. So then
that's why I don't do referrals often.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, I value this relationship. If this guy fucks up and I don't have any control of that, like you're going to be pissed at me. And I'd be pissed at me too.
I always did that. Yeah. Whenever I was an agent, everyone asked for referral. Like, hey, who should I use? Always the first thing I said, I was like, this never goes well. Ever goes well. You're going to be pissed at that person regardless.
I do it with a buddy of mine who like I'm doing almost like a rent to own with. His girlfriend's going through a divorce and some other stuff. So I rented her a house that I have, and she's gonna rent to own it. And so he's doing something like, hey man, can you send your plumber over? So I do. Oh, this fucking guy's fucking hour late. And I was like, this is why.
Yeah.
I was like, because you're texting me all day bitching about this guy, and I'm paying the bill, but like you're bitching about this guy.
Or it's not convenient. Like,
nothing,
like, all right, I'll let you use.
Nothing in this is convenient.
It's not a convenient thing. That's why you're calling me for the referral. Like, go hire that guy and
go. How about you go get 4 bids? You pick one. It's still going to be the same experience.
It's going to be the experience is 100% the same every time. But yeah, I mean, so the construction world, I like the construction world just from like, I like the challenges. I like problem solving. I like the end products. I love all that. So I mean, what you guys do, I think is cool. So you said you're getting more to basically you have customs.
Yeah. So I'm going full attack at the competition, 100%. So I said it this way at our team meeting on Thursday. Again, we kind of changed our EOS on a level 10 meeting is like we're doing more of a pulse meeting now on Thursdays, just an hour pulse of like threats to the business.
Yep.
And then once the first week of every month, we're doing the reports of like every department has to bring the report. Everybody has to show real results.
Yep.
It's not like, because meetings turn into like, well, I think we're going to do this month. Well, I think we're going to do this month. I don't care what we think anymore. Like, I want to see what we really did. So everybody's required to bring their monthly report to the meeting. But yeah, I mean, from our standpoint is I think some of these semi-custom builders, like, they've never been challenged in a very long time. And I don't think they really knew what was going to happen. But at the end of this year, I think they made a grave mistake, because we're going to take about 18 million in market share. And then we have a trajectory of another 10 million over a 3-year plan with our semi-custom. So now you're talking 28 million in the next 3 years.
Okay.
That is going to be tough. You're going to be tough to ignore me.
Yeah.
And meaning, like, you're either going to have to come and buy me out, or you're going to have to leave the territory, because at some point corporate's going to say, I don't know if this sector of the business is viable anymore, because we lost 10 million in revenue, because I only have 4 competitors. That was the reason why we really shifted. So the big reason is, if you go on Facebook and you've seen it, like, hey, who can do a kitchen and bath? 2,000 comments. Because why? The barrier of entry is low as fuck in Pennsylvania for construction. What, $50? You're a contractor now, and you can build a house? That's crazy.
Yep.
So, but if you go on to, social media and say, hey, I need a custom home builder, you have 4 comments, and one can probably build a house.
Yep. Yeah, but you're the first. Honestly, you're the first one that comes to mind every time.
Yeah.
I know the complications, so sometimes I don't send you stuff over, because I know that people are kicking tires of why.
No doubt. And regardless, like I said, I've known you for a long time. I value the relationship. Like, whatever you guys need, like, it's cool with us, and I like it because, like, our salespeople always need reps. Every client's like a different person. Like, today we have a little bit more of a difficult one, but I'm like, guys, like, you're going to learn from this guy. He's going to expose the holes in the company. Like, that's what tough customers do. They expose your weak spots, and you better pay attention to it and plug it. Your good ones are just going to kind of go through. And they're going to kind of expose, some things too, but your tough ones are really going to open up the door to, like, where you're lacking, and you better listen.
So on EOS, so you said you moved to, I guess yours is a little more drawn out, right?
Ours is very drawn out.
Because I'm trying to picture meeting weekly.
So like weekly for us, it just became more of like, all right, well, what are we going to talk about? And everybody's not engaged. So then you got, like, our admin who does our marketing too. She's just sitting over there like this. And then one of our sales guys isn't talking. He's like, yes. And it just becomes like, okay, well, how do you really make this about everybody? Yep. And that's why we started doing, again, like you said, the weekly pulse meetings with every department. And that, stems from the management team. And then now it's like, okay, well, how do we really structure this Thursday meeting to actually have some benefit? Yep. Because the whole team needs to talk.
I agree.
But the whole team doesn't need to hear everything. And we need to problem solve together, because we all have problems inside our departments. What are the threats? What are the threats this week? And that's kind of our hour pulse meeting. And then, like I said, the monthly first of the week is the big one, 2 hours or so. And we're going through, like, okay, sales, how many leads came in for the month? Yep. How many appointments did you have? How many went into design? How many are this? Like, what does contracts close? Like, that type of KPIs.
I could see weekly getting.
Yeah. It just gets.
Yeah. It's especially at.
I couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, guys, I'm not a fucking meeting person to begin with, but God, I don't want to just have a meeting to have a meeting.
Yeah, and I'm sure your leads are, your leads are much fewer than single families. They're still good, but it's.
For sure. Like, we have to average between hitting our goal, and our goal is roughly about 20 million. We need about 44 to 50 leads a month. That's about what we need. Okay. We're averaging so far, we're about 48. Like I said, though, the unfortunate thing that's weird about our business is it's cycled. Is our sales cycle gets too long, and our build process it floats about normal. But now we're shooting to cut down our sales cycle, and we've been working hard at this to get it down to about 60 days, full custom, all the way through, start to finish. That is from the first meeting to contracts, about 60 days. Okay, we were about 5.5 months to 6 prior. That kills you.
Yes.
So then the build cycle, if we can just cut down the build cycle 1 month, our standard houses are about 6 months. They can be 5. Our big ones are about 9 months. They can definitely be 7 or 8. And that'll slide in another 2 cycles of builds.
So basically, get everything under 12 months. Yeah. Start to finish. Yeah.
Because you got to think, like, if what our revenue wise, whatever's signed by June, that's what you're fully going to capture. Whatever's signed June to December, you're only going to get a piece of it. So I'm already thinking about 2026 come June.
Yeah, especially that conversion on it.
Right.
Like, it's like,
so like now the game is for us is like, okay, so we just brought on another project manager. So we got 3 project managers and a production manager. We have 2 sales guys, which one will move to sales manager, then we'll hire another one. Full marketing team, operations. We have in-house CAD that just came on, so all the drawings are in-house now. We can make changes in real time. So it's all speed for us too, same as you guys.
Yep.
So now it's like, okay, if we can sustain this many builds spread out and we can handle 50 leads a month with the team, good. Now I want to see where if there's no breaking there. But what we got to do is we got to smooth out the communication. We have to smooth out the internal department stuff. When we have to smooth out the processes, all while still growing $8 million this year.
Yes.
But if we could do it, now it's like, great. So now I'll dump $250,000 more into marketing and say, I want 100 leads a month. That's now where we get to the 25 to 30 million.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. What do you think the biggest challenge is right now with your business? Like,
it's not subs or construction.
Is it?
It's, well, besides plumbers. We're getting fucking murdered in the plumbing world. Like, there just are none.
Everybody.
Yeah, there just are none.
Yeah,
that do it for a normal rate, for sure. I mean, because we're seeing, we went on a big purchasing run, and we're getting numbers that are just fucking astronomical. I'm talking about over double. And that's hard to eat, dude. Like, you can't eat 20,000 on a sub.
Obviously you have the labor costs, supply, demand. What are the, I'm not that up to date on the materials side because our plumbing materials are minor.
Yeah.
Like we're talking a few pipes, right? Yeah. You're running lines across acres.
And we do long shit. Like some of our shit's like 600 feet, 700 feet. Like we're doing we're doing 1,000-foot runs. We're cutting in 800-foot driveways. Like we're doing big.
What else? I mean, you're probably doing heated, like you have a lot. You have
like we just did a
bathrooms.
house in Peters. It's full boiler system, meaning it's radiant heat the entire house. It was like $95,000. Like the first floor is heated radiant, the second floor is heated radiant, the garage, the basement, dude. This thing is wild.
That's insane.
And it all controls itself from your phone.
That's crazy. They went with radiant.
It's nuts.
Hey.
But what's wild is when you do PEX heat everywhere, you still have a furnace, you still have a boiler, you still have an air conditioner. It all runs through itself.
Yeah, they just didn't want the force.
Nah, they didn't want the force there.
Makes sense.
Because they're coming from a log cabin style house, and that's what they have now. And they're like, well, we just want to keep it. I'm like, okay.
If you got the money to keep it?
Yeah. Do whatever you want to do.
So you see materials go up on plumbing? Yeah. A good bit?
Yeah, just labor. Labor's up 40%, pretty much across the board. Everybody knows what they got now. And it's, no secret of like, I think the misconception too, like in new construction, everyone's like, oh, you use all Mexicans. I'm like, actually they're all Portuguese. Like there's really no real Mexicans there. I mean, a few, but like they're mostly all Portuguese. They're all from South America.
Yep.
That was the big hot topic whenever, deportation was talked about. Like, oh, you guys aren't gonna have any crews. And I'm like, you'll be shocked. It's just
people are gonna show up and work.
Yeah, no doubt. And there's, the thing is people are specialized in your guys' trade in the investment world, and people are specialized in the new construction world, and they don't commingle. Yeah. Like I found out that I cannot move my new construction guys to remodeling. They just don't do it.
Which makes sense.
We tried to do siding and roofing and all the other shit that everyone else did whenever that was like the thing, and that fucking failed deeply.
It's different.
It's not, again, I don't enjoy it. Like if I'm going to eat shit all the time, like I want to at least enjoy it.
Yeah, at least enjoy it.
And I hated remodeling. That was the same thing too. Like I hated it. So that's when we shut it down. I was like, this is so great.
Yeah. If you don't actually like it.
No, I love new construction.
On the new, so you have 12 months. It takes full build. Like trying to basically.
So we can basically do 2 cycles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think the biggest challenge, like you said, some of the labor or some of the cost?
Yeah, some of the labor. I mean, honestly, I think the real challenge is time, because I'm the new guy to the party. So Perry Homes competition, they've been around a long time. Schumacher Homes, they're nationwide almost. They're in 15 states. So they're big. They've been around a long time. Wayne Homes, big. They're in different states. And then Costa. So Costa with Jeff and them, like I've known them guys since I was a kid, and he's aggressive, man. Like that's who I kind of more polarize my business upon. I watch them guys because they've been around 40 years and they're local, and they do things that way. And I'm like,
pretty much dominated territory as well.
Dominated it. So I'm like, all right, let me watch you a little bit. And Jeff's aggressive. Like he just plays the game very aggressively, like me. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, what are you guys doing? So, like, I kind of was poking the bear recently on Facebook and was kind of calling them out a little bit. Like, how many builds you guys do a year?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, 20 to 30. I was like, that's what I thought.
Nothing wrong with friendly competition,
Yeah, I was just
right?
like, yeah, you guys ain't doing 100. Because how this all kind of came up was Ben Fisher made a comment, or my business coach. So I do same as you guys. I'm in the win rate group with Mike Claudio and them guys, and it's all service-based businesses.
Yep.
So he put up a post, and Ben Fisher put up there, it was like, who's doing over 100 homes a year semi-custom? And he put up Costa, and I was like, no fucking way. No way, dude. There's no way. So then they commented, like, hey, I was like, so how many are you doing then? Tell us. Come on. 30 a year. Yeah, it's a lot because pretty much most of their houses are $1 million plus.
Yep.
So yeah, you're a $30 million business just based off of that.
And he's been around for
That's
a
what
while.
I'm saying. So
does he really have the same?
For us, it's more about we don't have the backlog that they have. Like they probably have a start every single month, set starts that have been backlogged for years.
Yeah.
Me, I'm still just like, all right, we need start, and I can I got to get the leads to catch up. Because originally it was like, all right, we can only do 20 leads. And now we're doing 30 leads. Well, now we have 40 leads. Now we have 50 leads a month. And it's like,
is land like, or do you find a lot of the builders hoarding, like not hoarding land,
yeah,
but
so
are people hanging on for a few years?
Yeah, so we got lucky because we almost made a big mistake. So we bought this little bit of land down in Washington. We thought we were the shit, sold a couple of them, yada, yada, yada. So we're like, all right, cool. Yeah, we'll go into development, yada, yada. And then D.R. Horton came. And then I'm like, okay, hold on now. This is going to get real dicey. So we started hearing rumblings of D.R. Horton and Lennar. And you're talking about number one and number two in the world. And so D.R. Horton came and they were basically said, hey, we're here for market share. That's it. And we're willing to come into your market for 3 years, buy everything up front, no down payments, no nothing. We're going to buy everything at cost. We're going to steal all the subs. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And you're talking about an $85 billion business. I mean, I'm an $11 million business. They just can't.
Yeah, they can sit on it. They have some cash.
They got some fuck you cash.
Yeah.
So they were willing to come here for 3 years at a net loss to compete with NVR, and that's the battle that's going on now. Is D.R. Horton and NVR are going toe to toe on who's going to win market share here.
Got it.
And I don't want to play that game because you have 60 billion and 85 billion, and I can't play in either one of them worlds.
There's room for. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So I looked at it and said, guys, I think and you hit the nail on the head. I think what we're missing here, guys, is we're going to go over to development and realize we don't make as much on the houses as we do now. But what they have is title, insurance, the other attachments.
And that's where they probably get the bread and butter.
Because you make money off all your clients 4 or 5 times. I make money off my client once.
Yeah, I know Ryan Homes. I mean, they offered discounts for the
You bought
mortgage,
from me.
everything else.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the model works.
Yep.
I mean, that's why they do
So the secondary way I looked at it when we made this shift was like, okay, so if I'm going to do 30 homes a year, where can I do it with the less amount of competition? North Hills is pummeled. And you have more custom builders up north that are willing to do a house or two a year. Down south, we don't have that. I'm more going towards Greensburg and Fayette and Greene and all that. So we got kind of connected, and Washington County kind of caught our attention. We caught their attention, and we're kind of getting involved with them. But they're opening up grants to run sewer lines on 3,200 acres, which is going to open up a lot of opportunity.
Yep.
So Washington County kind of let us know that they want to raise their tax basis by $22 million in the next year. And the way they want to do that is by rural living, what they're calling rural living, is they want to sell more 11-acre parcels, 10-acre parcels, and build custom homes. They want to limit the development, meaning they don't get the tax base off of the development. Plus, people don't like it. It's not received well down south. So that's their infrastructure that they're planning. So we'll see how that goes. We have a real estate expo coming up with them soon,
And plus, you have a lot of the land that's leased.
Shit ton.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
By oil and gas.
Yeah, oil and gas. That's what I mean. Like, to actually...
That complicates the fuck out of things.
I figured it would.
It does.
Because as soon as you said you were going...
I've had a couple of people bring 50 acres, and then they realize they have an oil and gas lease and can't do shit.
Yeah, we do some marketing out there just for even like single, naturally some of our marketing hits there. We own some units, I think probably own 60 units or so in Washington County.
Yep.
It comes up.
Yeah.
It comes up a lot. Most of it is once you look on the map there. So I figured
so the cool
it seems
thing
like
is,
a cool place.
Yeah. So the cool thing is Washington County is actually going to spend a shit ton more on their actual county site now and make it actually better than Allegheny County. So they're actually going to set it up to where they're going to show off-market properties that are for sale.
Okay.
On the Washington County site, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And some off-market land opportunities that are going to be some stuff. And also, Washington County owns a shit ton of land that they're actually willing to give to people if they're willing to do something with it.
Okay.
which is kind of a unique opportunity for some smaller, investors in that world.
I like, Washington, obviously, they're building,
That's
they're
why
building
we
up
moved.
the commercial.
That's why we
districts.
moved.
Yeah.
So we moved from Peters closer to Washington just because we're like, okay, it's happening. Like Heartland's down there now, meaning they put their big logo on it. All the bigger builders are starting to kind of do some stuff. They're building the infrastructure for them to really kind of make some moves down there. Plus the land availability is nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, Hickory, Fort Cherry, anything south of that. We built a lot in Scenery Hill. We're building Claysville. We're building in, and a lot of it's retirees. You know, like we have a guy building on his brother's 500 acres. Yeah.
So for you, when you say leads, you're talking leads for someone to build, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously you track leads on acquisition, right? Do you target people that own, let's just say you have, if someone that has 500 acres to try converting them into potentially building, working with you to build, are you just looking strictly off market? Or are you looking for a lot of properties that also have land?
I don't look for anything like that. They all come to us. Yeah. So it's all in the sense of whether, they want to build. And what it has is we're targeting people with land, because that's the viable option. So our conversion rates based upon people with land and without is night and day. I mean, our conversion with people without land is probably 10%.
Yeah.
Because they end up getting burned out and they'll buy a house.
Yeah.
So maybe a year we'll convert 4, maybe.
That's a lot of work.
And I have licensed agents that are salespeople, so they can help with land. But it's just it's time.
It's a lot of time. And
Time kills every deal. You know that.
Time kills every.
I told all my sales guys, I'm like, you longer you let these people fumble around, they're going to find a reason not to spend $1 million.
They're going to drive home from soccer practice one day, drive into a nice Heartland community, Ryan community. They're going to walk right into that floor plan and they're going to sign. That's just what's going to happen.
It's what it is. And what this is the crazy part that I've kind of understood over the last couple of years, and it actually happened recently, is there's a lot of noise, man. When you tell someone you're building a house, and you build a house, I'm sure a lot of people are like, dude, it's going to be a huge pain in the ass. Like you're going to have all these things. Like, oh my God, like what were you thinking? This is stressful,
Yep.
And you get a lot of that. We had a guy, and anybody that's a construction person is, obviously knows everything. But they'll have questioned your utility costs. Like we had a 600-foot run in one in Peters, and the guy's like, "Why is it 110 grand?" My excavator told me it should be 80.
Of course he did. When's the last? Yeah, he probably.
I'm like, guys, come on. Like, first off, you're not comparing apples to apples. You didn't compare our spec sheet to your spec sheet. Like, it's just a guy talking, you know. But that opens the door up to oh, now is the bill too expensive? Is it this? Is it that? Family members are saying have you this could go so terribly. These owner builder things. It's just.
Well, it's that relationship, that client experience, right?
Because that's all we focus on.
It takes a few Googles of what should drywall cost me? What should this cost
100%.
me? Then they're now part of that build process.
We have to have this conversation all the time, saying, guys, okay, you went on and looked and seen that this faucet's $37 and I'm charging $52. I have to make some money.
And you're not they're not factoring into shipping. They're not factoring all the other expenses.
They're not factoring that we're taking the liability and we're covering everything. Plus we're getting everything there. Plus we're covering warranty. Plus we're covering replacement.
Well, and you're the one building it. You're the one physically doing the work to do it and coordinate and all that. And a lot of people misjudge the general contractor.
Yeah, and the thing about it is a lot of our clients, which is cool, is they were like, man, everyone told us this was gonna be so stressful, and it was just like, oh, it's great.
That's great. So that's probably the most. I mean, obviously, anytime if you're in an industry, if you can add value, that's the most rewarding thing.
Yeah.
You do it obviously to see an end product, see your team win, and obviously you want to win financially on it as well. But seeing that end product.
Yeah, I love it, man. I'm not going to say that I'm an artist. I have some friends in construction that love to do badass blown out projects. There's some guys, and I'm sure some of the construction guys out there that love to do super cool shit. And they love to do blown out flips. And I was never that guy. I'm here to make a business. I'm more of a process system guy and get some people in place and let's see how big we can make this fucker, as opposed to I want to make this bathroom just so sick because that's my expression to the world. I have nothing wrong with that. I love the form of people's, creative abilities in construction. That's just not me. I'm a true operator. Yeah. Day-to-day operator.
It's not scalable.
Yeah.
It's not scalable. It helps. It works if you do two.
That's it.
It's just not 100%. Repeatable.
I tell people that. I'm like, if you want to build a house house and do 1 a year, 2 a year, yeah, you'll make some fucking money. And you want to do a lot of it yourself, you're going to spend a shitload of your time. And you'll make some money, man. You truly will. But you're not going to do it on any sort of scale. Like, there's a reason why we have to build 10 houses at a time.
Do you do? I mean, obviously, a lot of the one things I hated about the bigger builders is the exteriors. Yeah. They don't do anything on the exteriors. It takes years.
Do whatever the fuck you want.
That's great.
Yeah, I'll do whatever you want.
Because
I'll do whatever you want, even in semi-custom.
Yep.
That's the thing. So, like, what we did was early on is we were the last builder that everybody came to. And I hated it. It fucking bothered me so bad. Yeah. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm thinking about this all wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, let me figure out what these people don't like about these other builders. And then we just did all of that.
Yep.
So now we're full turnkey. Our product is just like if you built with NBR. Driveway, landscaping, house is fully done, nothing's incomplete. You build with the other builders, you don't have a yard, you don't have a driveway, you don't have a sidewalk, you don't have landscaping, you have a mud pit, and that's yours. Here you go. Yeah. And they do allowances on excavation, meaning they leave the door open for you to eat shit because that's where all the danger is in the dirt. All the danger's in the dirt. So that's on to you. They don't tell you that. You got to provide all your stone, all your pipe, all this, all that. We provide everything. And we have, we'll let you do whatever you want. And at a speed that's just fucking phenomenal.
Exterior. I mean, I think exterior is what makes
100%.
Makes the house.
100%.
And I think people don't realize that whenever they build. Yeah. Anybody looking to build, going with somebody like Ryan Homes or any of those, you're not getting anything really outside. That takes years to, like, even just planting of grass and getting grass to grow properly takes thousands and thousands of dollars over and over. And how much time?
It takes about 7 tries.
It takes a lot of tries, especially for what you get out of like those typical builders. Yep. So, I mean, anybody who's doing new build, I would say.
Yeah, even our landscaping package. Our landscaping package is phenomenal. It's second to none I looked at all those weaknesses. Same thing. So my dad did it a very long time. He just retired. We were able to sell his business, which was cool. I got to be a part of that. So that was fun.
That's great.
And then now he's coming to work for us. And now he's going to do like some permit managing, just running around doing permit stuff and sitting in a truck. And then he's going to manage the landscape guys. And, he's on Social Security, so we get him cheap. But it's going to be cool.
It'll be fun for him to get to work with your
Well, that was the cool thing is like I started my career with him. And I hope to end his career with me. So that meant a lot to me in regards to being able to do that.
That's awesome, man. I mean, for him, that has to be so rewarding.
Yeah.
I didn't think he did for years.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't think he would really enjoy it until like he started. We went to his retirement party. And he was telling all these people he's like excited to do this and all this other stuff. So that was cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's your dad, right?
Yeah.
You look at him as a certain kind of, like, do you really want to be working for me? Is that, like, how's that feel?
Yeah.
Like, are you good with it or are you actually going to enjoy it?
Yeah. And that's what I said to him. I was like, dude, you got to keep moving and I want you to enjoy it, But, for us, that's the thing is like, I'm going to capture every audience now because we can do full custom, which no one does. And basically the way I stated it is, we're already so good at full custom that you're going to have a hard time beating us because I don't think you're going to want to adapt to our game. I'm already in your game and doing more. So I can easily adapt to yours. So I think you're going to have a real hard time adapting to mine.
That's a good point because, full custom is so much different. If you're used to that and just backing into it.
Like I make decisions like this. If I don't like my decision, fuck it, it's gone.
Yeah, and you didn't buy. I mean, I'm sure you're going out buying some in bulk for purchasing, but like you said, you're changing that every.
Yeah, so
it's a lot
now like Schumacher, they're in 15 states. You can't come and say, oh well, they got to call Virginia, then Virginia got to call North Carolina, then they got to call headquarters, then they got to have a corporate meeting to see if we could change this. By the time you do that, I'm already fucking 3 months ahead of you.
Yeah, you already changed it.
It's
already changed. The new product's already in there.
I'm already changed and done.
Maybe you didn't get that same purchasing power of that one couple materials.
So it's exciting. That's the part of the business that I love. There's a lot of guys in construction that swing a hammer and they fucking hate this side of the business, but I love it. Like I'm like you. I'm a day-to-day operating kind of guy. Like we're gonna get shit fucked done. We're gonna get it done super fast, and there's no ego to it. Like if something doesn't work, oh well, who cares? Move on.
I agree.
Like what the fuck?
And you're building a house. The house is going to look. Somebody's going to move in. Somebody is going to like it. They're going to complain. Some people are going to complain about little things.
Yeah, like
the whole process isn't going to go as smooth.
Even the marketing side of it, like we talked about, it's a headspace filler. Like so, some of our shit will do 100,000 views a month, and you get a lot of people like, "Oh, fucking house is ugly." It's not your house. Yeah. Shit don't bother me. I don't care. Like you know what I mean? Like
no,
keep feeding the algorithm, bro. Like it doesn't bother me.
Stop clicking.
Yeah,
get off social media.
Yeah,
if you don't
man. Like I don't get in the comments. I don't get in. It doesn't bother me. I'm not here to please. I'm here to please our client, and that's the most important thing for me, and that's that's the business growth of it. That's what excites me is the plan, the trajectory, and seeing the team grow and build, and how, again, you guys have been in business for long enough to look back and say, holy fuck.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the exciting part though. And the exciting
part that I love.
The teams, the people you bring up to, the people that you help develop.
Yeah.
Even seeing some of them off.
Right. So we kind of created, like, we redid like our, I don't know, your core values and your statement. And it's more just like, listen, Hemlock's here to create opportunity for you to grow, opportunity for you to be a part of this, opportunity for you to be something that you truly want to be in. And, hey, you want to sit in a seat? Let me know. We can't guess. If I think you're going to be great at this seat, then awesome. But I don't know to put you in a seat if you're not open with me.
That's why I like EOS, because you can actually see the seats.
Correct.
You know what the possibilities are. You know what the requirements are to get there, and you're at least you can see some kind of path, whether you want that path or not. But it's at least visible to you of what those options are.
Did you guys have a lot of problems setting rocks internally in your departments as you were growing? Because rocks get complicated.
Yes,
and judging the metrics of rocks,
we still have trouble.
Oh, we do too. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, we do. I mean, picture like our business there's different factors of our business that are easier to set rocks. It's easier.
We call them initiatives, same shit. Yeah. Tomato.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it.
The rocks get, depending on which sector of our business, because we had multiple L10s. Picture on like asset management, you're looking at different kinds of rocks. They're more process-based rocks. They're more. You can set some goals of like vacancy and stuff in property management. Acquisitions are pretty easy.
That's easy.
It's very leads, conversions.
Those are the easy
close. We need 3 contracts.
Those are the ones that everyone always highlights on. I'm like, can we talk about the other departments that are fucking hard here? Like you said, like,
the
so
finance.
Right. So like in asset management, are you guys across 956 properties? Are you looking at the health of the individual properties? Are you looking at properties you may need to sell? Are you looking at properties that are coming up for, if you did them on just a 15-year note that renews, or balloons, or those the things you guys are looking at in your asset management?
Yeah, everything above. I mean, we're looking at some of them. Picture you do burrs. We did a lot of packages of burrs. Some of them are tied in with different other properties on a loan. We're always looking at the resets. We are coming into some resets.
5-year resets or whatnot.
We're looking at some that we renovated 5 years ago too. We had good long-term tenants. We know the market jumped up. I spent a lot of time over the last quarter really looking at like, all right, let's pick 5 to 20 properties that we know we have 40 to 50K equity into it. Let's start walking those. We have tenants. Do we want to renew these tenants? Now, they were good long-term tenants, so some of that's hard. Those are hard decisions.
That's just like employees. It's the same thing.
And it's like, right now, though, it's good opportunity. If we only have to put 10 to 15,000 into it after they move, we're not going to hit that high flip price, but we can still hit a 40, 50K profit. That's good operational cash. So we are constantly looking at that right now. Or do we want to refi? Do we want to send another package in? These ones won't make as much sense to sell. Let's go package these ones in to refinance. We're always looking at that for renewals. Like renewals are coming up, especially the singles 1 through 4. It's a little bit easier to project, but then there's a lot of people are like, well, go for a $200 increase. It's $200 under market. It's like, well, we haven't seen this place in 3 years.
Yeah, right.
Like we can look at the maintenance log.
It's always easy when them guys are like, I'd start out and find 30 units that are $200 under rented. I'm like,
it's not.
That's so surface level.
Yeah, if I go tell that person I'm going to raise their rent $200, I better be prepared if they say no and leave. Correct. That do I want to put the $15,000 into it?
Correct.
And can I even refinance it? Doesn't even make. Can I even get that money back circulated?
Is that your average guy's turnover cost? Roughly about $15,000, you believe?
We have the multifamily. So the multifamily stuff is anywhere from call it 2 to 5, depending on size of unit. You have like we call it small turn, medium turn, heavy turn. Then you also have your singles. Your singles definitely
get expensive.
They get expensive. You're talking 15K is like a
it's
pretty
like ishy now.
It's 25 depending on
you're right.
What if we're putting 25 and we're looking to sell?
Yeah, because I mean even now it's so different. I mean because back even when 17 when I was doing acquisitions with Urban and all the other shit, I'm like $25,000 gets you fucking nowhere.
It doesn't get you far.
Nowhere.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what we get. We get a painted house.
Yeah.
You get some new fixtures. Yeah. We probably get granite.
Yeah.
We're not getting the cabinets. We're painting cabinets with that. Yeah. We're probably getting appliances.
Lucky we're getting some flooring.
We're getting flooring. All the other little miscellaneous stuff
No.
we're piecing together, but we're kind of we're starting to go over once. It's the exterior that crushes you.
Yeah, no doubt.
So if you got to add in roof and all the
They're
other
done.
fun stuff, that's where you get
40
crushed.
grand.
Yeah, it's 40 all day.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, I just did I did a, I had an opportunity I bought a condo, and then, it was small. It's like 1,000 square feet. I mean, I'd put like 20 grand into it. I did flooring, paint, kitchen. I did all my, like our guys, reglazed the bathrooms, like 25 grand.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah,
know?
the glaze. And so once you start getting into tub surround, all right, if you want to change the tub, there goes another couple grand right there. It's like everything.
Well, then you got to cut out the cast iron tub that's in there. Then you're just like, you're unraveling just an enormous amount of problems.
And that's why a lot of people say, like, just hire it. You can hire everyone says, well, we can just hire acquisitions agents and do this. I was like, there's so many little factors of understanding the construction, what you can and can't do. It gets insane just because of, do we keep the bathroom?
Yeah.
Do we know what that bathroom is like?
Because you can't do a bathroom for $10,000 anymore. I
think you can.
Yeah.
I had to think about that.
I get what you're saying, but you know what I mean?
It's not great.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gutting a bathroom and you got towel that's 4 feet up the walls and you have lath behind it, you have the metal cage behind it, you're
7,500.
Yeah,
you're getting a decent product, but not a great product.
Yeah.
You're getting a rental grade, decent product for $7 grand ish.
Yeah.
Give or take. But I mean, that's stuff we're always analyzing with, all right, what are we doing over the next 6 months of properties? Because you do got to start walking them. That's what we're starting to do now, where it's one of the goals was 15 identified and walked by the end of this quarter, 15 more identified and walked with the plan to sell. So having them walked, scoped, what's that budget? Getting out ahead with the tenants, like I don't like the 30-day stuff. It's always 3 months, at least 3 months ahead, communicating with the tenants, but getting that plan in place. How are we getting the funding? Because remember, it ain't like these properties are sitting on a bunch of cash either. So if you want to go put 25 into that property
debt service
or 15, exactly. You're making a couple $100. That's it. So you have some money to operate, but you've got to borrow the cash. So you got to plan that, line the crews, and do it. Factor in what's the market going to be in 6 months. So you're also projecting a little bit too.
This market's wild.
I think it's getting better.
It is. It's hit or miss. It's very like, hey, this pocket got 13 offers, but this one 2 doors down didn't get shit. It's like it's back into the market it was when I first started in like 14.
Yeah.
Like if you like I remember back when I first started in 13, 14, like if you sold your flip in 30 days, that was like the shit.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden this like 3 days on the market shit came, and they're like, now if you don't sell it in a week, like you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's weird if it sits there 30 days. Yeah. It's like, whoa, you got a problem. Lower the price. Get rid of it.
Yeah. Just
chill. If you're going bankrupt.
Yeah.
Refinance. Do something.
Yeah.
They got to go. But no, 30 days now it's more standard.
Yeah.
And it's just more patience, just understanding that time cycle a little bit better.
How do you guys handle the evictions? Because you guys got to have a bunch.
We have some.
Yeah.
We have some. Our big dude, Alex, he runs our resident relations. Yeah. Like that's the seat we call it. But he handles a lot of our tenant evictions, does a great job at it. But I mean, we try collecting first. We go through the process of basically late. Can we get you on a payment plan? We go through the whole process of last resort, evict, and I don't know. We probably have, I would say, 15 a year or so.
That's actually not nowhere near as bad as I would have thought.
I might be making that. It's since I've been really dove back into the management side, about 15.
Yeah,
seems about.
It's actually really good.
Like a good number.
Yeah.
Of place tenants, I would say probably closer, like that's a little bit less. We bought a couple apartment complexes that are mostly, call it 60, 70, 80% occupied.
Yeah. And you inherit shit with those.
Yeah, and just a lot of the rents were really low. You can't really jack up the rents, but you get hit with a laundry list of stuff from it's hard to build those relationships. Most people that are selling those types of buildings were very hands-on, meaning it was one person managing that building. They wouldn't collect the rent by hand to create a real process for that tenant to pay online, to pay on time, to split some utilities from RUBS or anything like that. That just changes the world. So it's like navigating that's always tough. So we lose some tenants on that from turnover, evictions, and it's not the fun. That part sucks. Yeah. Obviously. It's just a needed part.
Yeah. I think you guys got a unit next to one of mine. I had one on Dow Street on Carnegie. I think you guys own the building next door.
We sold that.
Yeah, you did you? Yeah.
We did decent on that one.
Yeah. I mean, I do okay with it. I renovated it to sell, and then it kind of was the same thing. Like something fell through. It was right on Christmas. I'm like, fuck it, I'll just refinance it, put a tenant in. I should have never.
Yeah.
Never. It's my only unit. I have like just real standard problems.
Is it single or is it multi?
It's single.
Single?
Yeah, and I'm just like, I told her, I was like, yeah, we're going to enter the eviction phase here.
We started selling some of our smaller multis, and we went through a little period, like probably.
I've heard that. I heard there's
years.
like a phase. I've heard a couple people, and maybe you can elaborate. Like some people tell me they don't like 4 units. They don't make money. Some people tell me they don't like units. They start to cross once you get over about 7. They make sense. You know, from about that 4 to 7 range, they just don't really make sense.
It's
Does
the
that
3.
seem true to you guys, or you guys have been through enough houses now to really know? I don't own any multis. None. I'm all singles.
Okay, it does. I mean, it's like the 2 to 3 units get tricky.
Yeah.
The 3 units mostly because they're always funky. Like picture a
like when you do
triplex.
it.
You always have like a random attic.
Small.
You have a studio somewhere within
Yeah.
that property. You get crushed on utilities.
Yeah.
Billing
they're not all split.
They're not all split. They're never all split. The common area is not there. And especially as you become, they work for the person who's has a handful of properties.
Sure.
Because you can go pick up the rent. You can charge them a flat fee for utilities and go collect it. Mm-hmm. But you have more turnover. You're living with 2 other people. It's just hard. It's really hard to make money and really see what that is. And it's the common areas get all beat up.
Parking's always weird.
Parking's weird. You just don't make as much, but they're great. A lot of people don't realize how good they are on resale. Because what happens is you get house hackers.
Oh, yeah.
And you get the person
that makes total sense.
Like, so flipping, we took some of our portfolio. We probably sold 30 or 40 small multifamilies about 1.5, 2 years ago just to create some cash. But like on the one on Dow, like people were paying in the 3s for, we sold 3 units all in the 300,000s.
That's good.
And I was just surprised of how big of a need there was for like 2 through 4 units.
Yeah, because again, there's a lot of people that don't find the acquisitions like you guys do. Like they don't have the buying power or they don't have the lead power. Like guys like me, I'm the same way. Like I've done acquisitions for a living and I'm like, okay, I'm not starting up this marketing. I'm not going to fucking start the marketing team. I'm not going to go on acquisitions. I'm not going to I'm like, listen, if I can pluck 10 a year off a wholesaler or a relationship, like, okay, I get it. I'm going to pay.
You're gonna pay a little bit more.
I'm gonna pay a little bit more.
You're gonna
but
say,
here's my thing. Like I like it. I bought a few last year. Like I didn't do shit to them, and then still burned out at 80%. Did nothing. I didn't have a shit into it. You know what I mean? And
we did some of those. We're starting to
because I don't like the reno. It burns me out. Because like again, I feel like I'm back in remodeling. I'm like even that condo I did. It took me like fucking 2 months. Like a $20,000 reno. I'm like this is terrible. This took forever.
It eats time. We bought some packages. The packages always come back to bite us.
Yeah.
You buy the 4 or 5 in a package just because 2 of them make sense. So you get 3 inherited. You renovate a few.
Yeah.
You kind of forget about the 2 that are. You get the rental increases, but your rents were like $900.
Yeah.
They need to be at 12. You kind of let it go. 2 years later, you never renovated it.
Yeah.
They're the ones that start popping up.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that come back to bite you. But you, up front, you can burn out a lot more stuff than what people realize.
A lot.
Like you can buy stuff and hit some high ARVs depending on the luck of the appraiser and all the other things out there. But those are a lot of people don't realize once you buy those inherited ones, a lot of people don't factor in where you get into construction for later for that project. If they decide to move tomorrow, first year, you got to go put that money back in there.
It's your money.
Then you got to take it back to refinance. Is a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, most banks won't, unless you have a real high relationship.
Yeah, and even doing that, the cost to do that costs you $5,000. Plus, you had to borrow the money, put more time into it. It's a big pain.
Has that been a relationship that you guys have had to work on over the last few years? Because I know a lot of banks only have so much appetite. 956 units, you ain't getting one lender.
Yeah, no, that's constant change, right?
Yeah. So how do you build those relationships, though?
Building them is just trust.
Yeah.
Proof of work.
Yep.
Like we've never missed a payment. Mm-hmm. I mean,
so what do you guys do? Do you just reach out to local credit unions? Do you ask this lender? Do you have somebody you could refer? Do you how does that,
Local credit unions, referrals. I mean, Pittsburgh is a pretty, as we know, we're small.
Yeah, we're small.
Everyone knows this.
A lot of us use MBFS and all the other shit.
Yeah, we all use them. We all probably we use Farmers for years, starting out.
Yep.
Standard. Yep. You name any of those small banks.
Next tier.
Next tier for a while.
Yep.
We've used them all.
Yep.
Dollar Bank's pretty good.
I got 2 with them.
Yep.
Yep.
They're all the same.
They're all the same.
How you work and how you present yourself as a company, though, helps. And that's what I think separated us to have those relationships and get a little more runway than most people. Because when they come to our office, I mean, Casey came from public accounting background.
Sure.
Our global statements, our staff is like really put together. So the packages we send them over, they all look great. The underwriting's all done for them. It's in a nice, pretty bow tie. It's not like, hey, all right, I'll get you this lease, and it's a chopped up lease. Yeah, sure. It's not just a guy in a truck with tools. They come down to our office, and we have systems, we have people. And we're big on bringing people to our office, showing them that, and at least saying, hey, you're working with a company. So I'd say we got more runway through most banks than most people. And that rotates as well. Like some might cut you off after a few million, but then they'll come back around after a couple years.
Yeah, 100%. Appetites change, things change. Because here's the thing that gets challenging, right? Is like most people look at our businesses just as cash in, cash out.
Yep.
Construction, real estate investing, same shit. Money in, money out. Money in, money out. Same thing. So like, our books look a lot different than they did when they first started. Our monthly, what we get, our monthly reporting, I send them the monthly reporting so you can show growth and EBITDAs and, your progressive, growth over the years and same stuff. Like, has that been an issue with you guys at all on the scale side? Because you don't for me, I at least have a business that shows profitability. You guys do too, but you are truly a cash in, cash out business in some regard.
We are. I mean, I would say we set it up pretty well, but you don't make as much cash. So we had to create operational. So that's why we charge ourselves just like everyone. Even though we own the management company, we charge ourselves a management fee. We charge ourselves acquisitions fees. So every property we buy, we actually have a $10,000 fee. We pay our acquisition company. That way, and the property needs to be able to support that. The underwriting needs to be able to support that. We have GC fees, like. Whenever we had the bigger construction company internally, we charged ourselves a markup on all jobs GC, so that showed profitability. So we were able to truly operate it like a business.
Because that becomes the hard part for a lot of people is they're like, well, I can only do 3 houses because I only, my 9 to 5, I only make 85 grand a year, and like I can't really show any more than that. And banks are like, well, we don't really give a shit.
And then a lot of it, I mean, the properties do support themselves as well. Like on paper, if they have the appetite for that.
For sure.
But then they're looking at the proof of work and all that. I would say at first it was a lot more navigating. And Casey, I mean, he came from that world. And we had a couple good relationships going into it as well. So, I mean, I think we were able to really manage those relationships. Our CFO, Steph, I mean, she's great. She came from corporate background as well. She's able to talk to them. And again, it's just building trust, relationships, keeping things kind of tight. But I mean, that's always the challenge. The banks are always like, how much runway? We look at our portfolio too when we're analyzing to sell or refi. It's like, I don't know how much runway we really have here or here. Yeah. So we can't just.
And when you say runway, can you elaborate what that means for people?
How much more a bank will lend you? Yeah. Yeah. So runway, like a lot of times the smaller banks, depending on where you're at, will give you maybe $2 million.
Right.
Might start you off at $1 million, $2 million. As you do $2 million plus, they start asking, like, there's more approval processes. Oh yeah. You have to go through a little more red tape. Yeah. Then $5 million is a lot of times a big cutoff for a lot of banks, a lot of different like smaller banks. So once you hit that mark, they want to see property seasoned a little bit longer. Yeah. They might cut that relationship for a period of time. We've been able to exceed that on multiple banks just from proof of work.
Nice thing that's been, same thing. Like I ran into a bunch of problems when we bought our office, and which is crazy. Like crazy. We were getting stupid just shit offers. Yep. And I mean, we were super seasoned. We had performas. I mean, it was just really wild. And then it was crazy because MBFS came in and just scooped it the fuck up. And I was like, I didn't think you guys would even want to touch this thing at $1 million. Like not even remotely. They're like, well, you're putting 200 grand down, but then you also got an independent appraisal in the building and appraised at 1.5, so we feel okay.
Yeah, and part of that too is different banks have different appetites. No doubt. Like the multifamily stuff, like you can get loans on multifamily, like
just based on cash flow.
It is. A lot of people don't like the single family stuff because most people are operating it a little bit differently than we do. We operate it like a company and a business, where most people just have a few properties, a little unorganized. Yep. So most people's runway on the single families, they just don't like it. And it is more work.
Because it's short.
Yeah. And that's, even though I think that's the safest.
I like single family, just for me. Just because, again, I don't I'm not going to get to 1,000 units or any stuff like that. You know, for me, it's just like, hey, how do I retire in construction? This is one form.
Yep.
And I need a little bit of it.
Yeah, I mean, the long game.
Yeah.
Like the rental's going to get you so far.
Yep.
When you start maximizing that a little bit down the road, refinancing, selling like we're doing now, selling a few properties here and there, and that's just going to be a constant approach. Buy some, you analyze the portfolio, sell some on the way. Construction, like you said, doing that stuff those are real money makers.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been kind of playing, I've been playing real slow just because for us, it's remodeling's not our strength. So it's for us is like, okay, when can we get it into a point where we can build a 200 to 400 unit multi? You know, that's the game for us.
That's what I was going to ask. So what are the next? Yeah.
That's the game.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
build a big boy.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. 2 to 4.
2 to 4.
So my partner Brian comes from, his background is in Savannah, Georgia, North Carolina, Texas, Atlanta. He built 1,800 to 2,000 units, apartment complexes. So
love that.
He has the background to do it. We're piecing together the connections to do it. And now it's just more like, again, talking with who's willing to finance that and what does it look like? You know, does it look like, was it 60% ARV or LTV? Like who's going to support that? Who has an appetite for that? And strangely enough, the ones who have the biggest appetite is PNC.
Okay.
I
could see that.
It's wild. They hate the single family game, but they're super into the multi game. I had a conversation with them a few weeks ago. Just to see if something comes up, you know, and again, and now as like you're sitting on more cash, it's like, okay, what are you going to do with that cash? The downside of that is like, you know, when you buy a property, you don't really get a cash deduction. You have an asset, which is taxable, which people don't understand. They're like, well, I bought a house with my money. I was going to pay for taxes. I'm like, yeah, but they don't look at it that way. That's an asset. You get taxed on that. So yeah, for us, it's, you know, I would love to build a 200 unit, operate it for a few years and sell it and then do it again. You know, that's the game.
So you're thinking units, multiple buildings or high rise?
Multiple buildings.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Just keep under no elevators.
Yep. I don't want to do any of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have a little bit more room.
Yep. So the big thing I had to learn about it is like the DEP side of it and like the retention pond side of it and that type of shit that really eats into a lot of your money now.
Yep.
So they're building one in Peters, which we've been watching, and dude, it's tight, man. They got about 300 units in there. It's really, really set up sick.
Nice.
So that's kind of what we're looking towards because Washington County is more open to it and they want it. So, you know, that's the talks we're having with them is like, hey, who can we get in contact with in regards to, you know, building some of these because Amazon's building a massive facility down south of Washington.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when, like you said, you said like bigger acreages. They wanted us to do some big homes there. You still need people.
Yeah.
For all
they're
the
going to have
businesses.
transient stuff. Yeah. A lot of transient stuff.
Yeah. So you need more residents.
Yeah.
So they should be very open to building because otherwise you're not going to get it if you just have one house every 11 acres. Yeah. Like on some of that stuff.
They want a good mix. They have a pretty healthy plan, which is cool. We'll see what really happens with it. They seem very open to expanding, which is cool because Washington County hasn't changed in ever. Like they're still very old school. Allegheny County crushes them on all technology, but Allegheny County also crushes them in taxes, you know, and they're on top of that. Washington County's really not.
It's convenient.
Yeah.
It's still convenient out there. I actually like Washington. Even though I'm up north right now, love Washington. I see it up north a little bit. You see it with Mars, Butler, everything's just expanding out. There's more land. Yeah. There's more land. It's easily, you can build better infrastructure.
Yeah,
the
North has that opportunity and they're doing a way better job of it. The infrastructure up north is great compared to the South. We didn't plan for it great, so we're all fucking congested and our shit sucks and we can't do nothing about it now. We're like, they're actually building it around freeways and like using it like how you travel in Florida and all the other stuff, you know?
Right. That's why I moved up north. And I went as close as I can. I mean, it takes me 12 minutes without traffic to get to the south side, so it's simple.
Yeah, you did pretty good on that.
Yeah.
So what is the long-term goal with you guys? Like, so are you going to be shifting models a little bit? Are you going to condense what's profitable? Are you going to stay at high unit counts? Are you going to 5,000 units, 10,000 units? Are you going to keep adding arms to the company?
No.
Like, what's the growth plan?
No goal as far as units.
Yep.
I think more like we want to get to at least a billion under assets managed. Whether we own a good portion of those or not, we always want to own real estate. We're always going to invest in real estate. Like we always want to do that. But as the market always changes, as focus like changes just from profitability from whether it's management or not, we want to get to 15,000 units under management. This year, we just want to add another 400 units under management.
Outside units of yours? Or just yours included in that 400, whatever happens.
Whatever.
Yep.
It could be all existing.
Number. Yep.
We call ourselves an existing owner within that management. So it could be existing owners or outside owners. But it's really operational. I mean, a lot of this future year operational efficiencies, then still grow and scale, man.
Do you guys, what do you do? I mean, assuming with you guys got a lot of accounting background inside of your office, you got a shit ton. So like, that's the same thing I look at is like, I'm like, guys, do you understand like a 10% efficiency at fucking 20 million brings in fuck you money? Like that's not that hard to achieve. I assure you, like 10% on that course of revenue and efficiency is not that hard. So that's why we started the purchasing side and all the other stuff that we have, because I'm like, guys, we had $7.5 million in cost of goods sold last year. You mean to tell me we don't have $500,000 in fucking mistakes in there? I call bullshit.
Very easily, especially in construction.
Yes.
I mean, we look at it, there's always your next million. As an entrepreneur, you always want to go out and create that next million, which
it doesn't need to be a new business though.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's within, like we just look at so many different channels within our existing business. It's getting a little bit better at a bunch of things is going to create an extra few $1 million. So that's
I mean, it's the reason why we did what we did even with in-house CAD. So I look back and was like, okay, we paid our third-party CAD guy who was pretty much exclusive to us, and I he did some projects for some friends of mine in construction, but he did mostly our stuff. I'm like, we did 35 drawings last year. We paid him $135,000. I'm like, we hired on a guy at $80,000. So now you're making money off of that, and it's paying for itself. So now you have an employee that brings on zero overhead that actually is profitable if you're doing that volume of drawings a year. And then you can do something with that money. Now it's like, okay, do you add it to health insurance? Do you add to benefits? Do you add it to this? What do you add it to? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or does it just go offset your overhead cost? Like, what does it do?
Those are the levers you pull.
Yeah.
Like once you have the core business foundational, you start seeing all this. Like we get a little bit better just on collections. We get a little bit better just on lease, like time to lease. Like the day it was posted to the day it was leased, we get a couple of days better. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah.
Hundreds.
It's crazy. Yes. So, I mean, it's really like within the business, we don't want to go out and create a whole bunch more business. We really want to focus.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, all right, what's the growth? It's like, we do want to keep growing unit count. Are we going to buy all those units? That's always going to be the question. If it makes sense to buy, like if it makes sense to go buy 1,000 of those units, and we know we can operate them, manage them like efficiently and make money off of them, we'll do it. That's what we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, because the atmosphere just keeps changing, right? So, like, let's say, back in fucking 16, 17, it was flipping. Everyone was flipping. That was the fucking hype. And then Matt Simmons came, and then it became wholesale. And once they see what he did, and, some of that is good for the market and some of it is not. Now the fad is 1,000 units, and it's multi-units. And what people don't understand is we don't have a lot. Like, Pittsburgh doesn't have a lot. Like, you pull the data from that, you're like, all right, we got, let's just say 200. Well, there's fucking 2,000 investors. You know what I mean? Like, that's a problem.
And that's why a lot of the conversion rates and stuff, people don't realize. I mean, buying properties here, we have enough properties to buy. You do, but the consistent...
We definitely do. On a single family level.
On a single family
Correct.
level. The multifamilies get much, much harder.
Correct.
And most of you're not finding these crazy...
No, they get inherited down from family to family to family to family to family to family
they
forever.
Do. Then they get bought by a company.
Correct.
Big one.
That's willing to pay it fuck you prices.
Yeah, and then it's usually just sitting on cash. They're already operating halfway decent, but you can only maximize those profits like so much. You do get the long-term appreciation.
Depreciations are great
on it. But yeah, it's really the operational and the management fees you collect, all the construction you get on the turnover.
Well, that's the nice part about building a multi is you can make money on it 4 times with the management fees and this and that. It's plus the construction.
Yeah, especially if you manage it in-house. And once you start doing bigger units, you can develop more staff to it. It's the hardest part is when you only have 30 or 40 units. You get one staff member, there goes all your profit right there.
Yeah. That becomes the thing is like, and there's a lot of factors to the outside world of like investing because again, I think there's just a lot of talk of like people call themselves that or try and do that, but it's like, man, there's a core group of people that really are out there buying and shaking on a regular basis.
Oh yeah.
And listen, there's a lot of mom and pop stuff, and that's super cool too. You know, it's I think when people are like, yeah, we're gonna own 50,000 units in Pittsburgh, I'm like, I don't know, man. Best luck. Yeah. Like we'll see you at the finish line.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a lot of headaches.
Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts in regards to, you know, then there's always that concern of like, again, you have, you know, you can go online right now and look at, you know, the dumpster fire that's happening in the country where they're just like, oh, the market crash or this or that. So what are your takes on what's going on economically in the market? Meaning, do you see market crash? Do you see market correction? Do you see, or did we already go through it as Pittsburgh? Because Pittsburgh's different than the rest of the country.
Yeah. I would say in the last 2 years we've been on not a crash, but it's just
we've been teetering.
We've been
Sure.
downturn,
Yeah.
Downturn for sure.
Correction, no doubt.
Correction. I mean, rates are up. Buying like inventories higher than it's been in most areas. Prices haven't fluctuated that much.
Not here.
Not here.
No, we have a few bubble markets. I would call them Lawrenceville and Highland Park, and the north side got hit a little bit. South side had its turn.
South side for sure.
South side had its turn. Other than that, like, I mean, again, you guys primarily buy in the city, right?
Primary.
Yeah. So you gotta like you have a little bit more of that. Like I only buy in the suburbs, you know, just because I can't take the city, and it's just I can't.
For city life.
Yeah. You guys have it figured out though. I don't have nothing figured out down there.
We have. I mean, having a lot of units, we had a venture. I mean,
you had to.
It's markets that are under 100 and call it your ARVs under 200.
Yeah.
All in, you have to be somewhere around like 110 to 115,
I was going to say, it's the same.
125.
Buying at 50, going all in at 110. You know?
Yeah. I mean, those are the markets we're in. So regardless of that neighborhood, we own a lot in Penn Hills.
Yep.
So that's like one of the suburban markets. But yeah, I mean, like I think we already kind of went through and still are going through like some of that economic downturn, call it. Again, I mean, Section 8's paying a little bit more though. For rent. So if you're open to Section 8.
Do you guys do any of those?
We do Section 8. We probably have a few hundred units Section 8.
Nice.
I grew up Section 8 housing. So navigating that has its operational challenges.
It definitely is challenging.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to deal with it.
It's not as easy as people think.
No, and it changes all the time. The requirements are changing all the time.
It's not consistent at all. It's not consistent for what exactly needs done for the property to be
and that's a problem
approved.
And that's a problem in operations because you can't set a true process or system to any of it.
And like if you went by like, all right, we know all this stuff's going to need done for Section 8, you would end up over renovating. We renovate pretty heavily to begin with, even Section 8 or not. But there's just so much stuff you don't know what they're going to call out.
Yep.
So you almost, by the time that comes across, that could come across months later. They hold back rents. To get the first check could take a few months. So there's definitely some slower to get it inspected. That's not always re-inspected. It's not always a fun process. But their rents are very, very good.
I heard they're getting even more competitive.
Yeah. So
do you think they're going too high? That's a talk that I've heard that's concerning as well to people. Again, I just want to hear your take. You guys are doing big business in this. I'm just a little guy.
I would say they're trying to. They definitely want more vouchers. There's a lot of
they're
unused
offering
vouchers.
Shit tons of rent in some of these.
They are
shit tons.
They're also you have to watch. They changed tiers.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff that it's just very surface level with most people.
Yes. Yeah. So they changed tiers of like which neighborhood they can pay a lot. Turtle Creek being one of the bigger ones we were talking about earlier. They went from a tier 6 to a tier 1 last year, and they changed it back this year, back to a tier 6.
Yeah.
So you go
big change.
You can go $2,400 rents, dropping down to $1,400, $1,500.
Now the deal doesn't make sense.
The deal doesn't make as much sense if you underwrote it at $2,400, $2,500. I think they need to because they need to incentivize landlords. Sure. There's a lot of bad name for Section 8 out there.
Just landlords in general.
Landlords in general. And I think they need to fill those vouchers.
Yeah.
I don't think the rents are that far out because a lot of people don't factor into utility deductions. By the time on paper, it looks like you're getting $1,900, but by the time you factor in all the utility deductions, you're at like $1,450, depending on the bedroom count. So I think the rents are,
which is accurate.
Yeah, and that's about accurate. It's about market rent. lot of people just see that top number. Oh, I can get 1,900.
Yeah.
Big number.
Yeah.
But whenever you actually operate it, you see that number is not truly that. So I think, I think we're in a good spot market wise I would say any of the flips we're putting up and stuff are still going.
Yeah.
So if we flip a property, properties are still going. There's still definitely demand for properties. I think prices you still see climbing.
Yep.
You see a lot more of them called grandma specials going even higher.
Crazy.
I think that barrier of entry is getting more expensive.
That's what sucks for the first time home buyer.
It does.
It's definitely going to hurt them bad.
I agree.
Yeah, there's no doubt that the first time person looking to buy a house it's getting very difficult. I mean, especially even in a market like Pittsburgh, that's statistically very low. Like I have friends in Atlanta, and they're like, dude, I'm like, yeah, I bought a house for $50,000. They're like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, like, no,
what are you talking about?
What'd you get?
Yeah, I'm gonna put 25 into it. I'll rent it out. You know what I mean? Like this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
but it's also becoming I think too, the more I looked at it, it's not just becoming neighborhood wise, it's becoming street wise of like what's going and what is not.
It is.
That's what makes Pittsburgh very difficult, especially for outside investors. Like, you can come here and think that I've made this mistake. Like Point Breeze North and South is two very different fucking worlds.
Oh yeah.
And I learned that the hard way. I picked the wrong side of Penn.
Yeah, you don't know.
You wouldn't know that from California.
You would not know. Out of state, you won't know. Even if you've lived in just the east side your whole life.
You're right.
The south is so much different.
So much.
Same with the east. Like
crazy.
When we started buying in the east, it took me. I was boots on the ground, like trying to figure out street to street, learning of like, all right, like what's the difference between this street and that street? Like, are there train tracks or like all this other there's so many little factors, as we mentioned. I think we're in a good market though. I think overall Pittsburgh, I think we're healthy from that standpoint. I don't think the rates are going to change a ton.
No, not for the time being.
Yeah, I think when they jumped up real fast, there's a little bit of a sticker shock to most people. No deals made sense anymore because everyone's underwriting for
it went down too low, though. We shot ourselves in the foot. We created this, unfortunately.
It did, and that's where...
That's what made prices fucking go bananas. And now you can't control it.
Yeah, now you're kind of... We leveled off for a little bit. We went down just a little bit, leveled off, and we're probably going to level off. Like we're going to see it... I think we're going to see an uptick this summer. In that. So I know if we're underwriting deals, I'm underwriting them 10% higher for the summer. And that's not crazy.
No, not at all.
I wouldn't call it 20, 25%.
I wouldn't do 20. No. And that's almost like the same thing. I tell people, I'm like, you gotta be very careful with these COVID comps. I'm like, they're not necessarily very accurate all the time.
Yeah, they're not.
They might be from an appraiser standpoint on a burr. They might not be that on flip.
They're not that on flip. That's what flips are. A lot of people don't realize how much of a different animal a flip is. Like the layer of renovation you have to do, like for the basements and everything else from the inspections. Sellers' disclosures are getting way more
tight.
Yeah, they're a lot tighter.
Yeah.
So we look at that, like we can't just exit out like we used to and say we don't know. We own it, but we're only in there twice.
Yeah.
With some of the cases, they're looking at that stuff.
Fuck yeah, they are.
So you have to get much tighter on a flip and you have to run your comps. Like you have to be tight based on street. The burrs, a burr on this street can appraise the same on the street over. Yeah. It's a guess. But
are you doing any like just actual flips, or are you just flipping the ones you're selling? Or are you actually buying property to flip?
Yeah. We probably have 4 flips in renovation right now that we bought to flip.
That keeps for cash flow.
Yep. Keeps for cash flow.
Keeps money moving. That guys are parking with you and stuff like that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we always have at least a few flips going, then the internal flips that I mentioned. But part of our strategy going into this year was a little more flips until we see the rents. Like just because values are still climbing, rents aren't climbing as fast.
No.
So it's a lot of times the debt service just isn't like you can hit the appraisals by getting back out of that deal. You're leaving money in there.
Oh yeah.
So you can only leave so much money in deals to recoup it, at least until rents.
What is your guys' threshold of leaving money in deals?
It depends on the property.
Yeah.
Like there's not like a set, we need to do 10.
Like can't park 20 grand in here and can't do it across 100.
No, and you can't. Yeah. Like eventually you have to look like, all right, if we're leaving 10, you have to have good months. You have to have bad months.
I got $2 million parked in these fucking houses.
Yeah, and it's like
it goes fast, man. I mean, that's the game. Like people don't understand. Like construction and real estate, like it's Pac-Man. This thing will just keep eating your money.
Oh yeah,
like just throw it at it. It'll eat it. Like it'll go bye-bye.
And especially if you're leaving money in there, and not accounting for renovation.
Yeah.
Like if you already renovated the property, you're leaving some money in there. Cool. I shouldn't get hit with a bunch of CapEx stuff. I need to still make sure the tenants in there and all that, but that's where it gets much harder. We like breaking even. Breaking even is always because before we always made money on the
I'm cool with breaking even.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
And that's after we charge.
Yeah.
We factor in
your acquisition, all your other shit. Yep.
Yeah. We always want that. Let's say we leave a couple grand in the deal. It's not the end of the world. Okay. We have some more in some other deals more than we just funded second position.
Yeah, I've done that too. I got caught in one where I'm like, oh fuck, I got to park 20 in this one because I got a bad appraisal and I can't fight it. You know, that type of stuff.
And we look at that as well.
And that'll happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
If you do enough burrs, if you did 5, 10, you might get lucky on them.
Yeah. That's why I always kind of ask for like that one appraisal. I'm like, where's that? Where's number C? Where's option C at? Where was he? Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah, everybody likes those guys, right? And there's tricks to all that too. Like it's you play that game, and it's a moving target, especially when you use multiple banks.
Do you guys have Airbnbs, or you stay strictly with flips and short term, or flips and long terms?
Flips and long terms.
I know Deep Creek's an Airbnb.
Besides Deep Creek, I had an Airbnb. My old personal house on the slopes. I did it for about a year.
Yep.
It's too much. Like it's too much to manage. Like you obviously make more money for spending more time in it.
Yep.
It's hard to set up those processes to do that efficiently. We had shootings and it actually made good money.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean that one cash flowed like crazy. I probably won't get back in Airbnb.
Yeah. I'm gonna try my first one. I'm only gonna do one.
Yeah.
But only because like I found it's not even a really great deal, and like I'll talk myself out of any fucking deal. Yeah. But I create lifestyle by design. So like I'm okay with like doing but I want to have experiences. Like I think a lot of people wait for experiences when they retire, and I think that's a mistake. So like the way I look at it is I want to have my retirement experiences, but I want to have it with my kids. So I bought a summer house on the river. Again, got a crazy deal on that, bird out of it, made like 200, put it all into the house, did docks, renovation, pavilion. Like that's our thing.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, love it. Like most amazing thing. And then now we bought one on the chain of lakes in Florida. We're under contract. Chain of lakes in Florida is like where Cypress Gardens is, like the mecca center to water sports. And like, that's my life. So I'm on a lake, you know, I love it. Like, and it's very selective down there on where you can Airbnb. You got to be within city limits. You can only do them in certain places. And this house popped up, a little ranch. And again, the price is fucking bananas, but like, it still makes sense, you know? So again, I'm going to try and do it. We'll see. I have some friends that do it down there, and we're going to kind of piggyback off it together, hopefully. But
I mean, that's lifestyle. So I would say like, we would get more in Deep Creek.
Yeah.
Like I would buy more in Deep Creek. I would if I did Airbnb, it'd be something I want to use in a place I want to visit.
I'm going to use this place, and I want to use it with my kids, and I want to have those experiences. And if it's only for 5 years, then fuck it. You know what I mean? Whatever. Yeah. I'm not playing for like, you know, today's market down there, and I understand and all this, like it's, you know, there could be a dip of 10% for a little bit or whatever, but like, you know what, I'm not playing for that game.
No, that's lifestyle. I mean, that's like personal.
Yeah.
To me, that's personal.
It's all personal for me, you know, and again, I can, you know, park money there. If I can break even on it a month, like awesome.
Yeah.
If you lose numbers, or if I 50% rent it, 50% a month, I break even. Like I'm cool with that.
Yeah. And you still get to use it. Yeah. That's something like that I would still do.
Yeah. Sure. So like, again, that's why I was selling that condo, to free up a little bit of cash so I can, you know, furnish it, renovate it, you know, do some stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just moving one asset to another asset. I mean, that's how it all is for me. I don't live a flashy lifestyle. I don't, I think I was going to ask you guys this, but I'm sure you guys still dump a shit ton of your cash back into the business and reinvest, and you're always reinvesting into, you know, whether it's new opportunities or just growth in general, which gets expensive.
I mean, all of our money goes right back into our business. I mean, we have heavy staff, right? Yep. So we always believed in people, pay people, and keep staff. Yeah. Like I'd rather.
I probably have half the staff you do, and I know what I pay a month. I can't even imagine.
It's high.
You got a big nut, dude.
Yeah, it's always high. Yeah, and that's something
that's the game.
We're comfortable.
Yeah,
we've also built a big portfolio with that.
Yeah,
we know that's going to create long-term wealth.
Yep.
Next couple of years, probably focus a little more on cash flow. I mean, once you have a big portfolio, it's like but we're starting to see some of those assets pay off as well too, with selling some, moving some pieces around, refinancing some.
It's all gets creative on how you're going to play with it.
Yep.
Like what's worth it, what's not. How can we squeeze this one? Is this one worth? Like that's the shit that I like.
I like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at our global on a daily, it's sitting right on my screen, and I'm looking around like, all right, this one's ending in August. I know it. I'm looking at photos online of last time we renovated it. I'm looking at the market. I know how it sits on the street. I just know that house will sell.
Yep.
I'm looking at like, what are we getting in rent? All right, cool. I was like, that there goes 70. There's 70 sitting right there.
Yeah.
Like wow, that's one we want to sell.
Yeah.
That's fun moving that around.
Yeah.
That's fun doing that. It's fun. Like I like the operational side.
I do too.
I like getting in the weeds.
Yeah.
I like solving problems. But yeah, man.
I'm the same way, man. I always said I was pretty vocal about it, you know. And again, this is no dig to anybody. I love coaching, but like we need more operators, not coaches out there in the world. Like I think there's too many coaches in the game and there's not enough true operators. I think being a true operator and actually building a real big business or building just a business in general and with continued growth is the trophy.
Yeah.
Like that to me is the real trophy. And, you know, it really will test the fortitude of like what you have as a real operator whenever you start, you know, hitting real ceilings.
Yeah.
And then creating, how do you break through that ceiling?
How do you break through it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So hitting the ceiling, breaking through
Yep.
it.
Because there's a lot of people that don't want to do it, right? You know, like there's a lot of people that don't want to put in the work.
Yeah.
Especially like property management, because that seems to be the thing that gets attached to everybody now. Because like, oh, when you get to a certain point, like, you know, because everyone's starting to follow the same model, right?
Yep.
Everyone's getting into lending because they look at it as easy capital raise.
Yep.
And it's not that easy of a capital raise. It's a big pain in the ass. And then you have property management, which is, again, the same thing. Like, I looked at your guys' property management, and I look at everybody's property management. Like, everybody has fucking shitty reviews because it's a shitty business.
It is.
Like, you get one starred by the people who get denied. You get one starred by people who get evicted. You get one starred by if you didn't answer the phone. You get, it's just like.
It's a thankless business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very thankless.
Like from at least the customer.
That's what I mean.
Standpoint.
Yeah. But again, like, when you look at it as a reflection as a whole, you're like, holy shit, man, I got a 3.2 over here, but like none of it's warranted. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous.
3.2 is pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, because most people don't like, again, you have a lot of turn. It's a rental property, right?
This is the game.
Like if they have a good experience, or usually they're not the ones. I think it's a big focus of ours this year as well.
Yeah.
It's one of our scorecard metrics. We need at least 3 5-star reviews per week.
Yeah.
So that's one we're tracking this quarter right now. We got to get that up. Like, and it's like,
well, I'm the same way in ours.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Dude, it's
hard, dude. I'm willing to pay for them. Even our builder, I'm like, listen, guys, I'll send you $1,000.
Like, what do you need?
What are you doing?
Need
here?
a sink?
Yeah. What do you need?
Yeah. I'll give you your full
I'll send you a
security
new faucet.
deposit.
What do you
back.
need?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to do? Like,
Just give me a review. Don't give me one.
Yeah. If you're gonna give me a 4, don't give me one. Don't give me none.
Give me a-
If it's 5, or just don't give me one.
Yeah. We should start reviewing tenants and that. But no, I mean, that part's still cool. The tenants, I think it is our job to make the tenants experience a little better. But yeah, that's the model. The lending, once you get to a certain level as well, I mean, we raise a lot of capital.
Sure.
We've been fortunate enough to people trust us with the money raising to do the burrs. So having that as an option, and you figure we created millionaires within our company too, lending to internal employees to buy properties.
Yeah.
So doing that like creates that other avenue for income, still handing that to ourselves to lend to ourselves on our own deals. Creates that avenue as well. But then you don't want to sit on cash too long either. Like if you go raise a couple million, you're buying with it. You want to keep that activated. So sometimes,
because if you're not giving it back, you're paying them a return no matter what.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be forced to buy either. So we found ourselves too. We're like, all right.
There's a lot of people who do that.
Well, yeah, we have the cash. Well, I got to redeploy this. And the same thing with the contractors. If you have a heavy staff of contractors, if you don't want to buy for 2 months, it's not a long time, but it's like, how am I keeping these guys busy? How am I keeping this capital?
I hear it all the time in construction. They're like, oh, I did this thing to keep my guys busy. I'm like, you're losing fucking money.
Well, we've done it.
Oh, we all have.
We all have.
If you're a liar. If you have ever had internal construction guys and you've said you've not done that, you're a liar.
Everybody.
Liar.
Yeah.
You're a liar. There's never been a time in business where it wasn't slow.
Yeah.
You're a liar.
And it's not a long period of time either. It might be a few months, and it's like, you need to keep that deployed. So it is hard raising capital. So once you have that capital, last thing you want to do is give it back. You want to continue to deploy that, but you want to make sure you're responsible with it, buying good deals.
Same thing, because no matter what, you owe that person a return, whether it sits in the account. You know, what I always said to people is like, you know, it's, again, the accounting side of raising money is very difficult because it's not like it sits in a separate account for each person. You know what I mean? It's like, I refer to like the taxidermist. Like, you take your deer to the taxidermist, you don't get the same deer meat back. Like, it's not your deer. Like, you're getting money back. It's just not exactly your dollar. You know, that's the way it goes. And that can get tricky. Like,
no, it gets, and that's the accounting side.
Yeah.
So key, money matching.
Yeah.
when's this money, how much of this money's
Yeah.
coming back, where's it going back
Right.
out, the speed of that, the speed of the refinance. I mean, like I said, Casey and the team,
100%.
they're amazing at that. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
we're
always
doing
on
the
top
same
of it.
thing as the same stuff. Like even in construction, we're looking at
Yeah, the
like
draws.
phase durations, like how long is this phase taking us? Like, okay, can we predict cash flow cycles now? So,
Yep.
and that's what I told my partners. I'm like, guys, our operational capital is, we keep X in there and it keeps it healthy. But I'm like, here's the thing, guys. I'm like, our trim phase might take 2 months. But if we have 8 houses in trim phase and our let's say we have 60 invoices that are net 30, we run on net 30 terms, but it's 60-day cycle,
Yep.
we're paying fucking $400,000
Yeah, you're paying
out
yeah.
during those 8 properties. So
Yep.
you better have some cash on hand to like, oh shit.
Yeah, you got to have
'cause
that.
you got to cover that.
Yeah, as you're waiting for you got to have the
Draw
cash
or
on
all the
hand.
other stuff.
Yeah, and
that's-
you're paying it. Yeah, you're paying interest on all that stuff, too.
Yep.
Paying-
And that's the
paying
thing
money.
that like, people need to understand is like the cash flow durations is like, again, that's the speed of the game. And it better be at a point where it needs to be or you're paying out.
Yeah, during COVID, we used to do full turn burrs in under 100 days. I mean, that was always from purchase
Yep.
to
It's
refi,
fast.
it was always 100.
Yeah, it's
like
fast.
that was turning.
With renovations fast.
With everything.
that's fast.
Yeah, lease.
Yep.
In, back in.
True
done.
lease.
True lease.
Because there's a lot of people that just do them,
Yeah, the bogus leases.
Yeah.
You can only do that if you have a couple.
Yeah.
Why don't you once you get to scale, that doesn't work.
No, no.
But yeah, I mean, doing that speed, that constant speed,
Yeah.
and it saves you a lot of money too.
Yeah.
Because if you're constantly doing that and paying points depending on your lender,
Yeah.
like if you turn too many at a high
Did a
point
lot of your
ratio-
lenders adjust when the rates adjusted? Because that affects you too, right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not the private. The privates didn't much.
Yeah.
Like private's been pretty
Institutional
consistent.
will.
Institutional will.
Yeah.
Yeah. They all changed their
immediately.
criteria.
Yeah, immediately.
They went from 80s
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like
60.
Yeah. On top of the rates, it wasn't bad enough. The rates go
2%
They also
origination.
cut off 5%.
Oh,
A little bit higher origination. Like
Yeah.
a little more seasoning. We navigated that well, but
Yep.
it's still like we have more equity. Let's
Yep.
just say that we have more equity in properties now because of some of those changes. But you don't get more cash out that.
No, you get less.
You get less.
And I think that's why a lot of people like. For me, I always like. I bought the most in the last 2 years, and my interest rates suck. Like 7.5, 7,
Yep.
minimum. But I'm like, okay. Well, the way I look at it is, if this still makes money at 7.5, like it'll make money. It'll make sense at 5. I assure you. So
Yeah, and
like,
if it goes down, that's a huge opportunity, and it's like
I don't see them going to 9.
No, me neither.
Like so.
Yeah, 7's healthy.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
And I think years, if it does go up, I think years are going to go up as
Yeah.
well. I think they're going to extend that. I don't think the cost of the money is going to go much different than it is now.
That's the way I kind of looked at it too. So what kind of approach are you guys taking a different approach into 2025? That you're just focusing solely on efficiencies and operations, but you're also adding, you want to add to certain departments.
Yeah, we want to add to the management. We want to continue to capital raise deals that make sense. I wouldn't say we're out looking for tons of deals to buy. Like, we're not going to buy another 100 single families in 2025.
You guys bought a fucking shit ton.
Yeah, I think we bought 96 or 97 singles, that's a lot, right?
That's a shit ton in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So I think going in here, I mean, we'll still buy deals that make sense. Call it 20 to 30 flips, but it's really focusing on all the operational. Then as soon as we feel that that's so tight, then it's like where we at with the market, change, adapt. But
yeah, we're in the same position. Yeah, I'm trying to tighten the fuck up super hard to see, okay, when's the right time to put gas on the fire?
Yeah, what is the time to do it too? This is where we didn't hit the spring. I don't know about you. Yeah.
And again, I mean, politics aside, I mean, I think everybody's kind of banking on Trump to get the economical side moving. I don't play into politics. I really could care less. But for me, I think there's a lot of people that are like, all right, like he's going to get something moving at some point. And there are businesses that are going to play into that. They're like, okay, well, this is the year. This is the 4 years for growth.
Yep.
I've also thought about it in the same sense. I don't know if you guys have thought of. You probably have. But whether it's maximizing the economical play of Trump or this economy, if it goes good, like selling a good part of your portfolio and paying a lot of that off, or is that not into something that you guys want to do? Do you always want to carry like decent debt on your portfolios? Or is it?
No, I mean,
or do you plan to start paying a lot of those to zero?
We'll do whatever. No, I think we'll always carry the debt.
Yeah.
As long as the debt stays at 7s or whatever.
Yep.
Like you figure the cost of, we're still raising money at 10%.
Yep.
12%, depending on how length of terms.
Yep.
So we always want to carry debt in the portfolio. But if we have opportunities to do it, we'll sell portions of the portfolio just to maximize cash in. But no, I mean, I think part of also seasonal and operationals right now, management, you run into turnovers.
Yeah.
Turnover season, most of our leases are April, May, June, July, August. So you have tons and tons of turnover. So getting really operational tight first quarter, hitting those summer months, those turnover months really, really tight, leasing's really tight. Then you figure out buying, because then you see where the market truly is. Like, is it actually on fire? A lot of those leads start calling you back. You figure, I mean, we still spend $15,000 a month in marketing. So we got a lot of leads in our pipeline. We got 1,500 good leads in our CRM. That's drip follow-ups, all the other fun stuff there. But yeah, I mean, anytime we can keep debt and leverage it, as long as the cost
100%.
isn't too.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the guys, there's always approach, right? It's either keep some debt or pay to zero. Some people have their one way. There's a million ways to play in this game, and that's what's fun. And that's the cool part of it is we're all on a different journey. We're all doing different stuff, but we all kind of cohesively exist and all understand each other's problems. And that's the fun thing about it is with you guys, it's kind of very similar to we are. Like, we're tightening up our operations, tightening up the processes, tightening up the systems, seeing where that's at and then really attacking again.
Yeah. Let's do it, man. Let's keep attacking.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming on, man. I'm glad for your time. It's we've known each other a while, and it's the first time we've been able to sit down and have a conversation in a long time. You guys are fucking killing it, man. And, I look forward to seeing that continued growth with you and wish you all the best.
Yeah. Thanks, Brock, man. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me.